Welcome to Fans Fight Back on the Pitch Boxing app with me, Martin Theobald. With me, Rakeem. How you doing, Rakeem Noble?
I'm doing good this evening. How you doing yourself?
I'm well. We were just chatting about what you've been up to around boxing. I saw you were at the High Rise show at the weekend. Was that up in Dunstable?
Dunstable, Luton, yep, that's where it was at.
Nice. So that's IQ Boxing, isn't it? That run a lot of, or they're involved in that. So Paul Webb, Xavier Miller.
Yeah, Paul Webb's the promoter. Well, of course, he works closely with Xavier Miller, the IQ Boxing, K Prosper, Yusuf Kamori. So you generally get one of them guys on the show at some point. So yes, it's a nice little stable. I know they're quite affiliated with Black Box Promotions as well, Dean White's venture. So you get quite a few decent fighters on those cards these days.
Nice. It was Yusuf Kamari, wasn't it? I think was headlining at the weekend.
Yes, Yusuf Kamori was headlining, and there's a few other IQ fighters underneath. But of course, Yusuf Kamori, he's fought his last 3 fights in the zone.
Yeah.
Some quite notable fights, some quite notable cards. So yeah, I would say he was the star of the show on Saturday night.
Nice. How was it? How was the show generally? I've been to a couple at Dunstable. It's an all right venue.
Yeah, it's not a bad venue at all. For what it is, for the capacity and size that it is, I think it fits the purpose. There was quite a few decent fights. There was 8 fights, and 4 of those fights you got a few knockdowns. So it wasn't just 8 rounders, 6 rounders going the distance. There was a bit of action. There was a bit of excitement. So yeah, that was good to see.
And what are you doing there? You on media duties? You interviewing people?
Yeah, so I spoke to Paul about it a couple of weeks ago, and I pitched the idea to him of would it be possible to do some of the ringside interviews, because I feel ringside interviews, it just adds that televised feel to it. You know, every time you watch boxing on TV, there's interviews post-fight. That's what we're just accustomed and used to. So why not give the same thing for when you're at these live small hall events? It just adds that little bit of star quality, that star element to the show. Just makes it feel a bit more like the real deal. You know, people care, there's attention, there's media. And yeah, it just adds another little touch to the shows, I believe.
That incorrect. You add the bit of star quality to it, Rakeem, not the.
Sorry, not just anyone. I add that touch to the show. So if you want anyone doing interviews in the small hall shows up and down the country, sort me out a travel card, and I'll be there for the night.
That's it. I've seen you at Nielsen Boxing. I've seen you at High Rise. Now you're doing your thing. It's brilliant.
Getting about.
So talking of shows that take place in lesser known venues and places up and down the country. Saturday night, Chris Billam Smith against Isaac Chamberlain. Start off, what do you reckon to it happening in Bournemouth? So rather than the O2 or the Copper Box or whatever, they took it somewhere else. What do you reckon to that?
I believe that was because Chris Billam Smith, he's from Bournemouth himself.
Yeah.
So if they was ever going to outbranch and do a show in another city, why not do it for a fighter who's already from that area, who's probably got a bit of a fan base there, and just build it from there? I think that's a brilliant idea. If we're going to start outreach and boxing to new areas, you're going to need at least one Stapleton name of that city to kind of hold the show up. And they were smart in putting 2 Olympians on the card, 2 medalists on the cards, who everyone from the pretty much British public will have an idea of who they are. So yeah, it was a good idea. Hopefully they can do more of those shows going down the line.
Yeah, and Billam Smith is kind of close to Bournemouth Football Club, so I think they help. I saw a lot of stuff with Aaron Ramsdale. From his days at Bournemouth, he was involved in not necessarily the promotion, but his name was attached to it. So I think that helps add something to it for the exposure. And I'm a fan of it. I like the idea of doing more things away from London and take it to where people are from. Unless that involves being up in a Josh Kelly show, because that looked absolutely fucking awful, frankly.
At least of that. Traditionally, London's always been the Stapleton of where boxing will be held. Over the last 5-6 years, we've had Manchester, Sheffield, Newcastle,
Leeds,
sometimes Cardiff. But those are the main areas. Now it's good that we're dotting out to a few more areas. They're putting shows on. They're trying to venture out. So if we can add Bournemouth to that and have a show there maybe 2 or 3 times a year, yeah, sure, why not? Battle on the beach. That sounds brilliant.
Yeah, Ben Whittaker. What do you make of Ben's debut?
Ben Whittaker. I like the kids. I think he's entertaining. I think we need a bit of that. We need a character who will play the bad guy, who will be a bit of a show off in the ring, who's going to be full of himself, who's going to make people have an opinion formulate of him, which is not always going to be a positive one. And he delivered on Saturday. He done the goods. He looked amazing in there. I saw a clip posted earlier on Twitter And I was saying this clip that they're showing of him here is exactly the same as the Tyson Fury Tom Schwartz clip, and they're gonna play it until the cows come home, just to emphasize that he is the greatest fighter ever, even though he's facing a not great opponent. But that's going to be in the marketing package for the next 10 years of Ben Whittaker.
Yeah, and I thought for a debut, some Olympians don't always translate brilliantly over on their pro debut, but I thought he looked good. He had touches of that Chris Eubank Jr. every time he'd slip a shot and then he'd walk off to the side. He had that Eubank Jr. pose about him. He's gonna piss off a lot of people, isn't he? But I like it. I'm
all for it.
Main event, your boy Isaac Chamberlain. What an effort! What heart! What determination! You've been through it. You've been in fights. You've been down. You've been up. You've been down again and got up again. Like that heart and grit and determination. I think that's what sets boxers apart from normal folk, isn't it? He had his orbital bone broken. Round three, yeah, and carried on and caused hell for Chris Billam Smith for the rest of the fight. Like, it would have been so much easier not to and to have stopped. Just give us your thoughts on, I know you know Isaac very well and you've been close to him in the past. What do you make of it?
I think performances like that just set apart boxers from every other kind of non-combat sport athlete out there. And then in the third round, at the point where people were saying Billam Smith is kind of trailing away, he breaks his orbital bone. You could either get disheartened and say, fight another day, or I'm going to go out and give him absolute hell, despite not being for a world title, despite me being in another man's hometown. But I'm going to do my part to do as much as I can to win this fight and not give up. And that's exactly what he showed on Saturday night. Isaac's a terrific boxer. Got hit in the third round, orbital bone went. Doesn't change a thing. The aim is still here to win. The mission is still here to go out and cause a riot of this fight and upset the hometown boy. He didn't get the decision, but he showed just how determined, how capable. And I believe in the end, he almost had Billam Smith out there. He was about a punch or two away from having him out, despite having the orbital bone fracture, which is carried for about a good 6 or 7 rounds at that point. So it just goes to show what he's capable of, potentially with 2 good eyes.
Do you think a more active Isaac Chamberlain would have won that fight? Because he's not been in the ring frequently or long enough for the past probably 2 years, really, is he?
It's been longer than 2 years. It's been since the Okoli fight. Since the Okoli fight, his career has been stop and start. He fought Okoli in February 2018. He didn't fight again until October 2018. So that's almost 10 months later. Was
that the Luke Watkins fight?
Luke Watkins fight, that's the one. He then didn't fight to the stretch after that until he signed with Hennessy, which I think was 2020. So 2 years later, Isaac's career has been very stop and start. And I feel with more activity, with less contract issues outside of the ring, his career would have passed a long way. Not to say that he hasn't got time to do it now. He's still got a lot of time and a lot of ability to do it. But where Chris Billam Smith has been having those hard fights, he's been having those exposure, he's bounced back from his losses, he's hooked up with McGuigan, he's sparring Okoli probably every other day. When Isaac was an actually probably more gifted and talented fighter, the determination and the grit and the work of Billam Smith continuously has now edged him over the line. So that old cliche saying, hard work and beats talent every day. In this case, Billam Smith just being that active and that bit more busier has raised his level tremendously.
Yeah, and he's so exciting to watch, Billam Smith. Like, it's brilliant to give Isaac, his praise and his credit for his part in the fight. But Billam Smith he's dynamite to watch. You'd love to see him run it back with Riakporhe. I'm not sure we need to see the Okoli fight. They're in the same gym anyway, so I'm probably not going to see it. But I'd like to see that Riakporhe rematch.
Yeah, that fight was, of course, on Sky. It was on Boxer. I'm not sure what this position is now with Billam Smith, but I can only imagine he's probably swaying more towards Boxer after that kind of opportunity. So yeah, we could see it. It'll be an easy fight to make. They're both at cruiserweight. There's already a history behind it. He lost on a split decision back then.
Yeah.
Could potentially be. I think it'll make it happen when Okoli's got a world title on him. I don't think they're going to want to throw that fight out there just yet. I think they'll get Riakporhe. I think they'll get a world title and then put something for it and then make the fight happen.
Yeah, it'd be a hell of a fight again. And I mean, it's just a really exciting division, isn't it? I mean, we mentioned Luke Watkins earlier. He beat Ian Martell at the weekend, didn't he, for the English title? So
he's back in the mix. We've got Lawal versus Juma coming up in the next couple of months for the cruiserweight title, for the British cruiserweight title. We still got Tommy McCarthy, who hasn't fought since his fight with Billam Smith, so that's still another cruiserweight.
Sam Hyde.
Sam Hyde, yeah, Jack Massey. They're all creeping around the woodworks. They're all in the mix somewhere. It's just getting them in the ring with one another.
Yeah, but I mean, I would say domestically, that's probably one of the top divisions right now. And the fact that, you know, we mentioned Luke Watkins there, he kind of disappeared off the radar after that loss to Isaac, but it was a close fight. And the fact that he's been able to go and get that English title, now hopefully he gets back into that mix as well. Yeah, there's some great names in there. I'm up for seeing that. Local venues, we mentioned Sheffield earlier this weekend. You got Dalton Smith up there taking on Samo Mason. So the 5 degrees of separation element of this. So Samo Mason beaten by K Prosper, who of course you beat for a Southern Area title. What do you make? I mean, do you watch that division more intently than any other because it's your old one, or not?
Do you know, admittedly, I do keep an eye over that division. I know on the 13th of June, Idris Hill was fighting for the Southern Area title, super lightweight, on Steve's show. Again, I can't remember the fella's name, but
Denis Denekachev.
That's why I couldn't remember it. Yeah, what you just said. And Idris lost it by stoppage. So this new fellow's now got my old belt, my old baby. And I remember before that, Billy Allington fought Jumani Kamara for it. So when that belt's being fought for, I do pay attention just to see who's got my old title.
Yeah, rightly so.
When it was the super lightweight division, I do keep a bit of a watchful eye over it. And Dalton Smith is an interesting case because he reminds me of myself coming up, but without the shine, without the TV around him, without the cameras. He's done the same things that I've done. He took some hard fights. He's shown what he's worth. He's got knockouts. He's entertaining. Yeah, quite similar to me, just without all of the attention around it. So when I see fighters like that, it captures my attention, but at the same time, I slow down on the hype a bit because it's like, hold up, you're getting a lot of praise and being said you're going to be the next big thing. But I know a fighter who did the exact same thing, but he never got that praise for it. So let's see how far you can take this. Let's see how far on this run you can go. So, of course, he's fighting Samo Mason on the weekend. Samo Mason lost to K Prosper. K Prosper lost to me. I think Dalton Smith will get through this fight. I think he'll possibly stop Samo Mason. But at the same time, I still wouldn't say he's proven to be the next best thing at 140. I'm still skeptical. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how he goes on.
Yeah, I've seen Sam fight twice. I saw both his fights with K. The first one ended in a draw. The second, he lost on a close points decision. Southpaw, trained by Ryan Rhodes up in Sheffield. Or he was. I assume he still is. I don't know, to be honest. But he can bang. Like, he's got that going for him. You could just sat ringside. You know when you hear those, when somebody can really hit. I think the first fight he had with K Prosper, he came out and just tried to overwhelm him a little bit with that power, and he kind of had K pinned on the ropes. He was almost overloading his shots too much. And I wouldn't be too surprised if we saw him try and do that to Dalton Smith as well. Dalton Smith's relatively untested, relatively untried. You wouldn't be too shocked to see Samo Mason come out and just maybe fight it like a 4 or 5 round fight and just try and unload everything, all that power within a short period, and see what this kid's got about him. The answer, I suspect, will be too much. And like you, I wouldn't be overly surprised if Dalton Smith stopped him. But it's an interesting challenge for him. You know, Dalton Smith, it's right, as you were saying, he's kind of had some of the rub of that DAZN Eddie kind of glitter over him. But this is the first show he's headlined. First show that's kind of his show, so it'd be interesting to see how well he sells, how much interest there is around him. But he looks exciting. I'm on board with him.
No doubt, he looks exciting, but especially when I look at that 140 division, there was many fighters that looked interesting that wasn't on that platform to look interesting. the point, me and Kay at the time when we fought each other, that could have potentially been for a British title, I believe. At the time, I was 9-1. I think Kay was 8-0. If the British title was vacant and let's say we had a TV deal behind us, you could have potentially put that one for a British title at the time. But at the time, I remember we had Bobby Davis Jr. We had a few other fighters, so the division was pretty congested. But yeah, different time. This belt could have been fought between me and Kay. So it's been fought between Dalton and Amazing because the British is vacant and it's available. So the politics of the game.
Yeah, so that's DAZN. I don't even know what's on the undercard of that, to be honest. I did see the undercard and I thought, that's rubbish.
There's a Johnny Fisher fight.
Right.
Sandy Ryan fighting in a rematch against Erica Ferris.
Oh, that was a good fight, wasn't it? To be fair, that was decent scrap.
Yeah, it was. But Sandy Ryan, I think she swam a bit too deep early on, trying to redeem herself. Hobie Price is on the card. Campbell Hatton, Kieran Conway, Jordan Thompson. Yeah, it's a development card. In all honesty, I'm glad they've mentioned it as the development card.
Yeah, it's next gen, isn't it? It's next gen with a bit of a shine on it.
Next gen development card with a British title as the main event. It is what it is.
Which is that okay? I'm going to change my running order here, but is that good enough for DAZN as a content output? Given that today they've announced Triple G versus Canelo, the third fight, is going to be a pay-per-view subscription. I think it's £10 additional for existing subscribers, and for non-existing subscribers, it will be £18, but you get a month worth of DAZN as part of it.
I've got a two-part answer. To that. A development in boxing, as boxing fans, we understand development cards, next gen cards, they need to happen. You want to put your next generation prospects on TV. You want to get them some exposure. They're not always going to be able to be on the undercard of big events. So sometimes you just need to make a card and make it about them. That's fair enough. That's not a problem. On the flip side, where DAZN is a boxing only app, which is creating content for boxing customers, this isn't going to attract new fans. This isn't going to attract in the casuals. This isn't going to get anyone who doesn't know about boxing before interested in boxing. And as far as the Triple G Canelo pay-per-view price, well, originally it was going to be £10. Now they've upped the price. Really, that's not acceptable. But I can see why they've done it, because they were expecting Anthony Joshua, new DAZN signing, to land the Usyk Joshua 2 fight on DAZN. So basically what they're trying to do is they're trying to make up for a few pay-per-view buys, subscriptions that they would have got from Joshua, but they've just transferred it over to the Triple G Canelo fight. We couldn't get it from Joshua, we're going to get it from you. We got to get it somewhere. We expected a big chunk of money, and that's now got to come from somewhere. So I think they kind of, they possibly shot themselves in the foot a bit with signing DAZN, but not getting the Usyk fight on DAZN. So they got to cover their back somehow.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the other obvious way they're going to plug some of that financial kind of revenue gap is potentially Ben versus Eubank. But that seems to be dragging its heels a little bit. So as you say, it's almost a short-term cash grab for Triple G versus Canelo. What I find interesting, if you sit and read underneath the DAZN tweets where they're announcing it, is how many people are like, nah, I've had enough of this. Like, you don't give me enough on a day-to-day basis to justify charging me £10 more for something that's happening at 4 a.m. So it's a difficult sell, I think, to people that maybe aren't happy that their Saturday fight night is Sam O'Maison versus Dalton Smith. When realistically, how much can you remember on DAZN of late? Chisora Pulev, I'm struggling a little bit.
Last week, DAZN was in a better off position because when Jake Paul, Rakhman Harmon got announced as on DAZN, I was like, okay, so in the space of 12 hours, we've got Sam Amazing cards, the Jake Paul cards, we've got Mckinson Ortiz cards, all in the space of 12 hours. Okay, that could compensate. And the Canelo fight's only £10. Okay, fair enough. In the last 24 hours, that's gone to pants. The Jake Paul card's now off, so we've only got 2 cards. So they now have to increase the price of the Canelo Triple G pay-per-view. So they're trying to do it. They really are trying, but it just keeps falling through time and time again. And yeah, I think we can all argue that the content they're putting out for what they're paying. Someone actually broke it down the other day. you're basically paying £7.99 a month for the subscription. You're getting maybe 2 or 3 cards a month. So all in all, you're paying £3, £3 an event, £3 each time. I guess it depends how you feel. It's cheap as chips. Do you think it's worth it? Is Sam Amazing main headline? Is Sam Amazing Dalton Smith worth £3 for the cards? I guess it's up to you to decide.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because not all of that is from the UK either. So you might have, stuff coming from the US. Is it worth to? As you say, it's not terrible. It's just that I think there's not enough shoulder programming to go alongside. If you're not going to have that live event stuff, then give us more documentary style information about box. YouTube channels do it all the time. Well, you see today, Coog and Cassius announced IFL TV are doing a new podcast where it's going to look behind the life of a boxer and kind of get their life stories out of it. Why aren't DAZN doing stuff like that? Why aren't they just hiring Coogan to do stuff like that? And at least start to justify some of that £2-3 per fight. Okay, well, it's not that. It's additional content as well. So don't break it down per fight. Break it down as a channel.
I think they got the Akambarak show, I think it's called. I think that's their content for the month.
I don't have a clue what that is. And I don't know if I'm missing out or not, but the fact I haven't heard of it.
Two American guys that talk about boxing, I think that's meant to be part of their extra content for the month, but you never heard of it, so it just kind of goes to show.
Yeah. You mentioned there about Michael Mckinson going over to the US and fighting Ortiz. Your mate, Michael Mckinson, you've been out in training camps with him. You've been out to Turkey. I know you've spent time with him, his old man, Michael Ballingall. How do you rate his chances? Ortiz is, he carries that kind of killer reputation about him.
As we can all admit, going into this, it does seem like a very steep task. Michael, he's up for it. He's game for it. He was up for it the last time, stayed until the very end. He's up for it again. Of course, we all know Ortiz, the reputation he has. I think he's had 18 fights, 18 KOs. But at this point in his career, he's been out the ring. By the time the fight comes, it'll be a whole year he's been out the ring. He's come back from an illness. I can't pronounce what it was called, but came back from an illness, couldn't make weight. Body inflamed a bit. So he's got the injuries coming back from. Year of inactivity, momentum is being halted completely. If there's ever a time to catch him at his weakest point, it's now. If there's ever a time to go for it, now is the point to go for it. Michael, he's not cutting corners. He's taking this pretty seriously. He acknowledges that this fight can change his life. He says, put up a solid performance, go out there and win. That's the main aim. Go out there and put up a solid performance. Take points from the fight, make it close, do whatever you need to do. Everyone's watching you. Your life will change from this fight. So I'm fully sure he's going to do everything he can to try and bring this fight back.
Yeah, I mean, I won't ask you for a prediction because I know it's difficult. He's your mate, and it's a hell of a fight. Undoubtedly, it's going to be a difficult fight. Michael's not a huge puncher. I think that's fairly well documented. It's more about whether he can stay away from Ortiz, frustrate Ortiz. And pick up the points, as you say, during the rounds and look for that victory. But let's not to forget, Mckinson, did put over Chris Congo, didn't he, in the first round of their fight? So
he's put down like 5 of his, I think his last 3 or 5 opponents, he's put them down at some point in the fight. He's got power to put you down, he's got power to stun you, and it seems that after that, his opponents don't seem to get too involved after that. I think he's going to make it messy, he's going to make it crafty. I'm going to go for Mckinson decision. That might be a bit biased, that might be a bit emotions getting attached to it, but I'm going to say Mckinson decision, majority split, unanimous, whichever one, a Mckinson decision. Because I think we can all establish he's probably not going to knock him out. I don't think he's going to go toe-to-toe with Ortiz because that's just a suicide mission. He's going to stick to what he can do. He's going to hustle out and grind out a points decision of some sort. Probably won't look too attractive, but he's going to do what he does and he's going to get that result.
That'd be a hell of a win if he goes overseas and does that to Ortiz. That would, I'm not saying it ranks up with like Lloyd Hunnigan, but it's still a significant Brit win overseas if he manages that.
It's a big one. It's a big one. It's a big task. He knows it. His whole team knows it. We will see. We will see next Saturday.
Yeah. And you mentioned earlier about Jake Paul as well. His fight with Hasim Rahman. Ah, man, boxing just loves to fuck around with itself, right? Hashtag boxing, man. It's so he was due to fight Hasim Rahman, a heavyweight, at 200 pounds, and then they shifted it so it was going to be 215. Rahman just wasn't losing the weight, and so it was kind of binned because it wasn't safe for him to cut the weight in an agreed period. Jake Paul's never had these issues when he's fighting people that aren't boxers. He only seems to get these issues when it's Tommy Fury, when it's Hasim Rahman. They're all running scared, right? They're all running scared of Jake.
You know what I think it is? When you ask the average boxer, would you fight Jake Paul? Oh yeah, sure, I'll fight Jake Paul. He's a YouTuber. He's not a real boxer. I'll take him. I've trained all my life. A lot of boxers like the idea of fighting Jake Paul. But when the contract gets put in front of them and it actually comes down to it, and there's a chance, oh, he's actually not bad. Oh, he's on it. Oh, he's really game. He's not messing about it. I might lose. Come up with an excuse on my rib. Oh, I can't make weight. Oh, the contracts. I'm not getting paid enough. Then it all starts to. Then all the excuses start to come about. The idea of fighting Jake Paul, yeah, sure, sounds like a piece of piss. When it comes down to it, don't think I fancy it. Don't think I can do it.
I'm with you, right? I think it's a one-off payday that you're getting. If you beat him, you don't get anything for your career. It does absolutely nothing because people go, "Where's Jake Paul? He's a YouTuber." If you lose, that's it. You're a meme. For the rest of your life, you're a meme, and your boxing career is over because you've lost to someone that nobody in boxing particularly wants to give the credit to. Yeah, he never gets these issues against the MMA guys. He never gets these issues against.
It just makes you have the question, the self-belief and confidence of these professional fighters who seem to keep coming up with excuses to not fight Jake Paul. Okay, he's a YouTuber. He's not a serious boxer, as you've claimed and as you stated. So why are you not ready to fight him? Why are you now pulling out? Hasim Rahman, I think Jake Paul said he was about to make. He probably would have. I don't see why it would not be the case. 10 times more than he's ever made, and I can fully believe that because what's Hasim Rahman ever done in his career? He's gonna make a career high payday. After tomorrow, after the last, well, whatever he counts the fight, you will never hear of him again. You'll not see his name again. You'll not get a headline fight again. At most, what he might do next is take a fight against an opponent who has no chance of winning or get beaten, and that'll be the end of it. But he'll be happy to lose to someone who isn't Jake Paul just because, oh, they're a boxer. Oh, I gave it a go. There was a credible opposition. There's no shame in that. I fought for a WBC international belt and lost to an up-and-coming prospect. No shame.
He'll go and lose to Christopher Lovejoy. That'd be epic. That's what I want. I'm going to end this with someone who hasn't taken any losses over the last week. Sonny Edwards. Sonny Edwards, who's just been taking apart Twitter. I'm careful of what I'm saying here because I'm going to end up on the wrong end of a Sonny Edwards Twitter thread or something. But yeah, he's had an interesting week, isn't he? So firstly, what do you make of him inviting a Twitter troll up to his gym and giving him a bit of a walk around? I think that's probably the best description, isn't it? It's a bit of a walk around.
I must say, for the last 2 Saturdays, some of the peak entertainment has been from Sonny Edwards' antics versus Danny Flexon versus Fab Tanga. It has been absolutely incredible. What an app. I think I get more entertainment from Twitter than DAZN as of late. Twitter has really been talking on.
Pay £8 a month for Twitter, for boxing Twitter.
Hey, I pay a tenner, it's worth it. As we all know, people are always online calling out fighters, saying, "Oh, I can spar you, I can do your job better than you." And one actually showed up to Sonny's gym, and I think Sonny handled it as professional as you really could. You know, he didn't take liberties, didn't take the piss. He could have really done that guy some damage, but just touched him, let him know he was there, let the guy throw some shots, and within 2 rounds, the guy had enough. The point was already proven, and the whole world could see. As in, it was thoroughly entertaining, quite a lot to watch, but at the same time, I think it just set a good lesson, a good example of I am professional, I am levels above. If you do challenge me, there's more than a high chance I'm going to beat you. There's nothing to it. So fair play to Sonny. I saw a few people giving him sticks saying, "Oh, why are you fighting fans for? Why are you fighting anybody?" But hey, we're humans. If someone challenges you, someone calls you out of your job, you'll be like, "Hey, I'm better than you. I do this for a reason. Let me prove it to you right here, right now. Sonny just proved that. In the best
It's absolute chaos, though, isn't it? What a sport. Because I think I said at the time, like, imagine I tweeted Harry Kane saying, you're rubbish at football. And he goes, all right, come down here, penalty shootout, stream it live on Instagram. I'm going to embarrass you at this. Like, it just wouldn't happen in other sports. Like, Sonny Edwards is the pinnacle of his sport at what he does. He's a world champion.
And that's why this is the best sport, and I will not be told otherwise. You can never a dull day. You can never guess what's happening next. When that time we were going forward, I was actually out. I was in the park, and I saw a tweet from him. Then Sonny went live. He's driving in the car. Next thing I know is the fella's at the gym. Sonny's at the gym. And it's like, okay, my day's been put on hold because there's a big fight night on Saturday afternoon at around 3 p.m. So you can never call it. You can never see it coming with the sport.
No, I was just explaining to my lad what was going on as I was flicking through my phone. He was going out somewhere with my missus. And he was like, what do you mean? Someone just turned up I was like, yeah, he's a world champion pro boxer. Jump on this Instagram channel and you can watch it live right now. So he goes and gets in the car, watching it live on Instagram. I don't know how to explain this because he's used to serious sports where this doesn't happen. It doesn't happen in the Premier League. So yeah, it's a strange one. You know, I've sparred professional sport. I've sparred Kay, I've sparred Linus, Brad Pauls, all those down at Terry Stewart's gym. You know, I see that guy take a bit of a beating. Yeah, you know, it shows the levels between. I don't know what that guy's ever done before. I'm guessing absolutely nothing based upon what I saw. I've done a bit, but you know, I soon realised there are many, many levels between what I could do and what those professionals could do. Mine wasn't streamed on Instagram. Mine was done with the doors closed and with only the people around the gym. So yeah, I don't know, what madness. But yeah, then his altercation with Danny Flexen at the weekend. There's never a dull moment.
On Saturdays.
Yeah. How does that end up happening? You end up with a journalist that gets called out by a world champion. Again, doesn't happen in football. You don't end up with Ronaldo calling out, I don't know, Raphael Honigstein's antics.
Sister. You know, I think you got to be a special breed of person to follow and enjoy boxing for what it is, more than just what's in the ring. You got to be a special person for boxing media. The stories, the cases, the events that happen on a daily basis within our community and sport. I'm very glad that it kind of does make me glad that boxing is shut off from the rest of the world. You know, you got friends and family who always ask, oh, where are there boxing gyms? When's boxing on? Oh, I can never find out how to get into boxing gyms. At some point, I think, oh man, it would be great if boxing was on the mainstream. But when I just see some of the stories that we live through every day, do you know what? Maybe we should keep it in the little dingy gyms under a train station where no one can find, where you really got to go out of your way to find. Because if this stuff was on the every day, we'd be shut down so quickly.
Yeah. I'm not sure boxing Twitter is ready for the mainstream yet. I'm not sure the mainstream's ready for boxing Twitter. You'd have to.
I don't think the mainstream's ready for. The mainstream's not ready for what boxing really is. I'm happy with them showing a DAZN, Sky, a BT, a professional event where they show the best 3-hour coverage of the sport, the athletes fighting at their tip-top condition, the promoters acting professional, the managers, everyone holding their tongue. But as soon as those cameras are off, as soon as people go home or go to their gyms or jump on Twitter, that's where boxing really starts. That's what's real about the sport. What you see on BT, that's fake. What you see on TV, Sky, DAZN, that's fake. That's everyone just acting like civilized people. What happens in the negotiation? I tell you, you should live stream a contract signing or a contract negotiation between two up-and-coming prospects, and you'll see how soft boxing really is. You'll see how you'll see the issues of boxing.
I agree. It's like one of those pictures, you know, where it's got like the waterline, then the tip of the iceberg is there. That's what you see in like AJ versus Usyk, is that lovely tip of the iceberg. Underneath that is all the skullduggery that goes on, all the boxing Twitter antics. That's the stuff the public never need to see. Let boxing have that. The public can have AJ versus Usyk.
The contract signings, the purse splits, the A side, the B side, the signing fee, whose music gets, who comes out first. That's one we've had. Who comes out first? If my mum doesn't tell me who's coming out first, then I'm not coming out first. All of that, rankings, affiliations, advice, advisors. Mate, the iceberg is bloody deep.
We could do a whole show, if not longer, on just the stuff outside of the ring. No one needs to know about what goes on in the ring. No one really cares. It's all the other stuff that's more amusing.
That stuff in itself, like I said, if the mainstream ever found out about that side of boxing,
it'd be shut down.
Shut up quicker than anything. So I'm actually glad that it's very hard for the average person to find out about boxing, because once they find out about what boxing really is, they'll go play cricket or golf or tennis or do something else.
There we go. Right, Rakeem, thank you so much, my man. Appreciate your time as ever.
Well, bro, man, have a good one.
Thank you very much for watching Fans Fight Back, Pitch Boxing. Take care, Rakeem. We'll see you ringside soon, no doubt. Take care, man.